Hey, did you see what happened with gold?
It's going crazy. Do you remember the necklace I told you about?
Yeah.
I'm so glad I managed to buy it before gold skyrocketed. By the way, what about your crypto kickstart?
Oh my god, I wanted to buy Bitcoin so bad. I wonder if I still should buy it.
And that I will answer for you, Natalia. So looking at the price of Bitcoin, it's true that we had multiple drops from this resistance. So it's showing us these bearish signals from that resistance. However, also technically Bitcoin has been presenting some sort of ascending triangle. So we could notice that on the 4 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour time frame. So post the assassination of Charles Kirk, who was a political activist and a conservative in the United States supporting Donald Trump, notice that for a very, very long time, Bitcoin has been acting as some sort of safe haven for investors, especially that crypto is taking the lead slowly over the world, right? So we saw that breakout coming from there. Now, on a smaller time frame, we are having an ascending channel, or we can say an uptrend within this ascending channel on the 2 hours time frame. So we can expect a retracement, a break of this pattern, a retracement to the very solid support that was a resistance and broken. And from here, we can expect a continuation to Bitcoin to the upside. So, Natalia, if you're looking to buy Bitcoin, you might as well wait for it to have a good retracement, to find the confirmation, and then we enter a long position. So that's about Bitcoin. Let's go into gold. Now, looking at gold, yes, Reem, you had a very good fortune luck that you bought gold before the skyrocket. But as I've been telling you for the past few months, gold is going to skyrocket, and with so many good entries that could possibly be historical entries. And for those of you who made some money, actually got some DMs thanking me for the analysis. For those who have made money and didn't thank me, just do something about it, man, right? Be grateful. Okay, so we can see that gold already is almost at its all-time high. Now, at this price range, we are having what we call a diamond pattern. So this diamond pattern is a technical pattern. However, it doesn't really play as solid on gold, right? So we can't really rely on it as much. However, gold is still bullish, and as I've been stating for the past while, 3,800 is an optimal target for us. It hasn't reached yet, but the price is at premium. You don't want to buy premium, never. So if you're looking to rebuy again, Reem, or any of you guys want to buy something, right, we want to see a retracement. So we have a solid first level of support here. So if we see a retracement caused by this pattern, and we already have a confirmation why market should fall, right? So we see a retracement, we can enter here. However, there is some sort of bull flag forming also from the support, all right? So there could be a possibility to see more volatile movement and a continuation to the upside. But either ways, if we don't find the retracement, you don't want to enter into gold because that trade would be so risky, unless if you're talking about a breakout trade on a small short time frame like a scalp trade or something. So that would be advisable, of course, according to good risk management plan. So that'll be about gold. And since we're doing market updates, let's jump into Nasdaq. All right, looking at Nasdaq has been acting pretty weirdly for a very good period of time, honestly speaking. So, and I've mentioned that ways before, especially after that big sudden volatile movement. So we're having Nasdaq still continuing in an uptrend movement in some sort of narrowing ascending channel. So we could expect it to continue further for it, but the higher probability is that we should see some very decent retracement, especially because one of the biggest reasons for gold to go up is that, first of all, we had Israel threatening everybody around for possible World War III to come. And also, we had recent reports that were negative. The unemployment reports were negative on the dollar, also caused price to go up. So Nasdaq is still going up, even though there are some bearish looming cloud about the economy and USD, right? So we can also notice it. Even though there is a bullish momentum, we can see candles slowing down, and also wicks are more often to come. Yeah, so from here, we had a recent break above this resistance, which was a very, very strong and solid resistance. It was all-time highest of Nasdaq. However, the break above it wasn't really too solid, right? So we can expect this to be a possible liquidity sweep before a retracement, right? Because this is what sometimes happens, right? They sweep the liquidity above before they bring it down. So it could continue going up within this channel before a retracement to a minimum of the support. So advisably, if you want to go for a long position on Nasdaq, just wait for it to retrace to this support, which was the solid or the highest of all time at previously. So keeping that there, this resistance should be pretty solid. Of course, if we get a confirmation. If not, we might actually see a deep retracement, right? So it isn't the best asset to look to trade at the very moment. So this will be about Nasdaq. If you want to trade it, keep an eye on risk management and preferably make day trades, not swings or long terms. Yeah. All right. So let's go into Nifty 50. Okay, Nifty 50. You see that? Yes, exactly as we've anticipated in the previous week. Perfect movement, exactly on the dot. So since everything is happening the way it is around the world, we can expect the Indian market to perform the way it has been performing for the past while, and we look for a further consolidation within this range. So, easy trades. Let's go to EURUSD. All right, look at this chart. It's actually so beautiful technically. It's a mixture of accuracy and volatility at the same time. So what we're looking at in EURUSD on this time frame, which is a 2 hours time frame, some sort of ascending triangle. Yes, the market has broken above it before, but what it seems, it is respecting the lower trend line of this movement, which is what we care about, right? And keeping in mind that the United States dollar is so in weakness slowly and gradually, yeah, especially with everything going on fundamentally. So we get this very strong, impulsive, bullish movement from the trend line, and we have this small bull flag on a or on a lower time frame, or it's even obvious on the same time frame. So it is at resistance. There is two possible scenarios. Either we find EURUSD just going up to this resistance, perhaps a little retracement before a continuation to the upside. This could cause us an ascending channel and then a break with a liquidation to that pattern. Or from this resistance itself, we can see some retracement to the trend line. So either ways, we would want to look for a bullish entry, right? Just awaiting the right confirmation. This will be it about EURUSD. Actually, we do have a solid confirmation right now. The only problem is that the market is closed, right? So if it was opened, I would have gone for a long entry right now. But you never know what can happen in the weekend, especially with all the volatile news that come every other seconds around the world. So that'll be it about EURUSD. Keep an eye on it. It could give us some very nice trades for this coming week, and that'll be it. Going to the fundamental analysis part, looking at our previous week reports. So the week started from early Sunday, where we had several reports about the GDP growth in Japan, which were actually better than expected. Going throughout, we had balanced trades and exports in the industrial section in Germany and so on. So we had a very important report to the pound, which was the PRC retail sales monitor, and it was annual. It was better than expected and better than the previous one. Very positive to the British economy. Later on this week, we had the non-farm payroll annual revision, and it also was worse than previous. So the USD API crude oil stock change also was bigger than previously, which caused some impulsive movement on oil to the downside. Yeah, market, even though afterwards moved up a little bit, we grabbed some liquidity technically, then continued a bearish movements. So going fast forward throughout the week, we had inflation reports about China, which were worse than expected, and followed by bad performance in PPI and core PPI, and also crude oil stock change on Wednesday to United States. And later on this week, we had a very long list of reports coming on the United States of dollar, which are the jobless claims and the CPI and inflation reports. Now, the majority of these reports were positive to the United States of dollars. However, the USD saw a drop to the downside and gold saw an impulsive move to the upside, and that's due to the unemployment rate jumping to be worse, way worse than expected. So that's a Thursday, and later on Friday we ended our trading week with a Michigan consumer statement, which was also negative to the United States of dollar, and some reports on the pound regarding GDP and goods trade balance. So that's how the previous week went. Let's take a look about our upcoming week and what we're seeing to happen with. All right, looking at the upcoming week events and reports, we have so many crucial reports that will probably shake financial markets. So we need to keep an eye on many of those, and we'll highlight a few right now. So starting with Monday, we have the United States New York Empire State Manufacturing Index. So we have an expectations to be a big drop from the previous outcome. And if this comes as expected or possibly worse than expected, this can cause a huge bearish sentiment on the United States of dollar. There's already some sort of bearish sentiment on it because of the gap of expectation. So this is followed on Tuesday by employment change in the UK, and we could see somewhat of an impact on the GDP after these reports are launched. In the same day on Tuesday, we have several reports on the retail sales in the United States, and almost all these reports are expected to be worse than previously. We have one report expected to be almost the same. So we already see a huge bearish sentiment on the United States dollar retail sales reports. So we will probably see also a bearish movement on the United States that can also cause gold to pump even more than it's already pumped. We have on Wednesday followed report on the inflation in the Great British Pound. We're expecting a slight increase in that. However, the big event is happening on 17th of September by 10 p.m. to Dubai time. That will be a Wednesday, which is the FOMC economic projection and Fed interest rate decision. Now, the expectation is for the interest rate is to be cut by 0.25 points. However, due to all the weakening performance for the past several months on the United States of dollar, there is a decent possibility that the Feds will decide to keep the interest rate the way it is, just to keep the dollar strengthening or at least balancing its strength for a while rather than weakening it even more. Right? So this is not a very easy fast forward expectation because this cut may not really happen. So don't take impulsive, risky trades. It's not similar to previous reports. If you guys, some of you came to our institutes, we've highlighted some periods of time where they did interest rate cuts and it was very easily expected and traded. So this one could be a bit risky. Actually, it could be too risky. Also, we have the Fed press conference. So lastly, at Thursday, we will be having reports about employment in the United States. And also we're expecting somewhat of worse outcome. We have 3 reports. 2 of them are expected to be worse than previously. And lastly, at that day, we have the inflation rate, the annual one on the JPY, and also we're expecting inflation to decrease. So this is a positive, let's say, outlook on JPY, especially after the GDP has been positive on it in the previous week, the GDP reports. Right? And finally, at September, we have a bunch of retail sales reports on the GDP and Canadian dollar. And we have the Bank of Japan interest rate decision. An expectation for it is to be the same. Now, it's already very little. And since economically, the JPY has been performing pretty finely, so most likely it will remain the same without any change. So that will be it for our fundamental outlook on the upcoming week. Mahesh.